So yesterday we talked about NFL stars who are completely forgotten. And everybody tends to forget how great this player was, or how great he could have been if he was able to stay on the field. They only mention, his drug use, his suspensions, and all the negative things that comes with them. So let's talk about Flash. Talk to me about Josh Gordon.
Oh man, Josh Gordon. I honestly think he's probably one of the most misunderstood players of all time. Nobody really wants to dive deeper into his past or, his childhood or just anything like that. So Josh Gordon struggled with depression ever since he was a little kid. One day, his dad just, felt like a failure. So he just walked out. He just kind of gave up. And that was the last time Josh ever saw his father. Josh really didn't know how to cope with this, and he also really didn't live in the best neighborhood. He didn't have great influences. So how he coped with this, he started self-medicating in the 7th grade. If you actually read some of the interviews that Josh Gordon had, you hear him talking about him popping Xanax and him just being barred out in his classroom in middle school. Throughout high school, his addiction got worse, and it really became a disease. For those of you who don't know about drug addiction, it really is a disease. It's a really bad disease. And Josh Gordon wasn't only smoking weed. People are like, oh, he was just a pothead. No, he was doing stuff like coke, Xanax, alcohol, really anything, including weed. Just he wanted to escape. So when he ended up going to Baylor, he ate on the field, as we all saw. But off the field, his mental health kept declining and declining. When he was at Baylor, he also said instead of the coaches really helping him and trying to be there for him, they just helped him pass his drug test so that he was able to play. Now, when people are encouraging you that, oh, it's fine, you're a great athlete, we're going to just make sure you can keep playing football, don't worry about your drug use, you're going to think it's fine to keep doing what you do. And I know you can look on the outside and be like, oh, well, he should have known it was wrong. He put himself into that situation. Yeah, but when you have people genuinely acting like it is okay for you to do that, you're going to think it's okay. So eventually he failed one of his drug tests and he got suspended and kicked off the team. So eventually he went into the NFL supplemental draft. For those of you who don't know what the supplemental draft is, we'll talk about that in another video. But he got picked up by the Browns. He balled out when he wasn't getting into trouble and all that stuff. He was doing pretty well. Pretty bad coaching staff and a below average team and just below average QBs. He had 1,600 receiving yards. And he wasn't even leading the league in receptions. Josh stated in an interview that every single game he showed up drunk or high. What also really didn't help Josh Gordon was that Johnny Manziel got drafted to the Browns. And we all know how Johnny Manziel was with cocaine and alcohol. He had his own issues. Josh and Johnny became really good friends. They were constantly partying and doing drugs. There was actually an interview with Josh Gordon where they were in a hotel room or something like that, and they partied for 2 days non-stop. There was so much coke there, Josh said he couldn't even recall anything that happened or if he was even there or not. People think Josh Gordon was just, like I said, a pothead. People think it was all weed, but if you actually look at what the articles would say when he got suspended, it was other substances. They didn't always specify, but it wasn't just weed. So while Johnny Manziel was there, the Browns really did not want to give up on Josh Gordon. They saw how great of a player he was, so they just continued to send Josh to rehab over and over. But they never really emphasized how important being sober was. They would just keep sending him to rehab, and Josh would be like, oh, well, it's a vacation. Get clean, pass the drug test, I'm good for the season, I'm ready to go. It all kind of changed for Josh when one day he was in his hometown, his old neighborhood. It was 11 o'clock at night. Josh was walking around for just any type of fix. And it just clicked. He was like, I am an NFL star and I am out here in the hood late at night looking for drugs. But why? Eventually he went back to rehab and he really wanted to get better. He got a therapist to deal with his depression, his childhood trauma. Eventually got out of rehab and was doing pretty well until, he relapsed again. So, addiction is a disease, And I've seen some documentaries, and also just heard from people that, for example, right, like heroin addicts, they say it takes 10 years of sobriety to where they stop really getting urges and really struggling, to where they really just feel normal again. So when Josh Gordon went to the Patriots, I'm pretty sure everyone remembers he said he was stepping away from football to get help because he was still really struggling. And I thought that was a great move for him. I really want to see Josh Gordon make a comeback. To my knowledge, Josh Gordon is still struggling. I don't really know if he's gotten better. I'm really rooting for the guy, man. Love Josh Gordon. I loved watching him play. Phenomenal athlete. I truthfully feel like he could have been one of the best receivers in the NFL if he got that help early on and was sober and really doing his thing. I mean, he put up 1,600 receiving yards with the quarterbacks at Cleveland during that time. Like, that's insane. He also had 2 consecutive 200-yard games that season against pretty good teams. And he definitely has some issues, and I really hope he finds what he needs, and I really hope within these next few seasons he recovers and makes that return to football.
Josh Gordon is one of the best athletes I think we've probably seen at wide receiver. You know, sadly, he has never played a full season in the National Football League. He had 1 Pro Bowl and All-Pro year with the Browns 2013. But, you know, after that, he has not, produced at the level of his talent on the football field. Following 2014 season where he only played 5 games, he was suspended for the next 2 seasons and did not play a snap in 2015 or 2016. We go to 2017, he only played 5 games. 1 touchdown, 335 yards. With his skill set, with his talent, those are not the numbers that you would like to see from Josh Gordon. We moved to 2018 when he played for the Browns, then he got traded to the Patriots. 720 yards and 3 touchdowns on the year. Gordon, that was pretty good numbers for Gordon. Only playing in 11 games for the Patriots. Those are strong numbers that he put up with Tom Brady. We moved to 2019, traded to Seattle. I feel like Josh Gordon never really had the stability to, make things right. 3 teams in the last 3 years. I'm hoping he can, fix and turn around his life, before he becomes a player again. On the field, with his talent and what he can do, I think, he could be a great receiver, a 1,000-yard receiver, a consistent 1,000-yard receiver. But, at this point, with how deep we've gotten into his, troubles and his career, I think we need to focus on his life first before we go back to the football field. Too many times now, even dating back to college, it was always about him, just being able to play football, his availability to play football. And I think we've gotten to the point now where we need to focus on making sure Josh Gordon has his life in order before we make him available to play football. Being 29 this year, hopefully he can get back on the field if everything is perfect with his life. I feel like football maybe can help him with, dealing with his addiction problems. Maybe take his mind off of, certain things he's addicted to. But, time will tell about that. Hopefully Seattle, gives him another chance and, they admire his talent that he has and how good he can be. Hopefully Josh Gordon can tie it together and have a couple more good years for his career. Maybe show everybody how talented and how good he could have been if he played every single game throughout his career. I think Josh Gordon is a great player, just a troubled player, and he just needs to shake them demons.
I really hope Josh Gordon gets the help he needs. He's a phenomenal athlete. I really want to see an NFL comeback, but I also want him to be okay from off the field standpoint. I know it's not easy dealing with the issues that he's dealing with, and I really hope he gets that help. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe. We're a new channel, and we're trying to grow. We drop videos weekly for you guys, so thanks. Tune in next time.